As environmental threats become more acute, ordinary citizens are taking matters into their own hands. From a South Korean art studio to a Native American reservation, we travelled around the world to see some of the creative solutions being undertaken, all in the name of helping the planet.
By night, this 40-foot tall cross is a burning beacon in the darkness. By day, it powers the Polish church it's emblazoned upon. Made of 18 solar panels, it's the brainchild of Krzysztof Guzielek, the church's eco-minded priest, who paid over $7,500 out of his own pocket for its construction.
I arrived at this parish on July 2nd, 2018. I was wondering how I will manage to cope with such huge electricity bills. And on top of this, there was also the construction of the parish house. All of this, it was really difficult. The church's orientation is north-south, not east-west. So what could we do? It wouldn't make sense to place solar panels on the roof. They would work best on the front wall. What shape should it be? A cross, perhaps?
Guzielek says the cross is a testament to his love of God and was inspired by Pope Francis's rallying cries to protect the earth.
Each of us also has a responsibility for others and for the future of our planet.
The issue of climate change has put Poland at odds with the Vatican and the European Union. Coal-reliant and staunchly Catholic, it's the only EU member state not committed to climate neutrality by 2050. Late last year, the Archbishop of Krakow described ecologism as a dangerous phenomenon and referred to activist Greta Thunberg as an oracle for the forces that are trying to break with the Christian tradition. But that is not a creed Guzielek follows.
We all know how polluted the earth is. We all know how much fumes we breathe in. Wouldn't it make sense to help ourselves a little bit?
When the cross first appeared in September last year, some of the church's parishioners were inspired to invest in solar panels themselves. Matilda Szczepaniak is a doctor from a neighbouring town.
This idea, the photovoltaic crucifix, is a fabulous combination of economy, ecology and faith. And it looks fantastic, especially at night when it's lit.
But this isn't the end to the priest's mission. He hopes to keep investing in solar technology in a bid to convince others to do their bit to save planet Earth.
Hi, I'm Bobsy. I'm the founder of Mana, and I've been in Hong Kong now almost 30 years.
Welcome to Hong Kong's first zero-waste coffee shop, Mana. Look around and you'll see houseplants, posters about sustainability, and eco-friendly reminders such as food that doesn't cost the earth, eat like it matters, diet change, not climate change. The shop was founded by Hong Kong's leading environmental activist Bobsy Gaia back in 2011. It aims to raise awareness about the human impact on the environment and to reduce the rubbish that is contributing to that city's waste overflow.
They drop their food waste, leftovers, packaging into our compost bins. It's collected and through an aerobic composting system. It takes about 6 to 8 weeks. Gets composted, turned into soil, akin to this here.
Mana's eco-friendly business model is based off an entirely compostable and vegan menu that consists of plant-based food like roasted vegetables and tofu wrapped in flatbread. Its packaging can also be turned into fertilizer.
Stuff like this cannot be recycled in Hong Kong. Nobody would recycle food contaminated packaging. So our solution was to compost it all in one go. And we were only capable to do this starting in early 2019. So this was a major, major, major breakthrough for us as a brand to be able to say that we are 100% compostable with all our packaging.
But going green can be a costly endeavor. Gaia estimates roughly 5 to 10% of revenue is used to ensure Mana produces zero waste.
This costs a lot of money, so we have to invest a lot of capital into being zero food waste and minimum waste and so on and so forth. So for Hong Kong, it's very novel. It's pretty much pioneered the way in our city, paving the way by developing the way forward, because there was no way where a restaurant, a busy restaurant, could have its food composted, even recycled properly.
The former British colony boasts glittering skyscrapers and billion-dollar infrastructure projects, but Hong Kong is struggling with a much more mundane problem. It's disposing of its trash. A city of more than 7 million people, Hong Kong deposits around 2/3 of its waste into landfills. That's 5.6 million tons annually, and little is recycled. In 2018, the city wasted more than 3,500 tons of food each day, according to government statistics. The authorities have acknowledged their inability to cope with the problem, saying they lack the land to develop an effective recycling industry. But while the city's capacity to manage waste is limited, the government has invested in different waste handling schemes, including O-Park, a facility which turns food waste into energy. Gaia, however, says restaurants across the board should shoulder the responsibility.
We as restaurant operators must do a lot more. We have to play our part, not just restaurants, but all businesses, in reducing their waste. Because there is no such place as away. Everything's coming back to haunt us.
I can't imagine someday that, our grandchildren won't even know what a blueback is, what the sockeye is, the fish that Quinault has been known for forever.
So we can do.
Salmon has been an icon of Native American Quinault culture for centuries. Now, it's become a symbol of climate damage as the tribe races to preserve its livelihood and identity. The Quinault Indian Nation lies on the coastline of Washington state. Over the past years, it has seen rising sea levels flood their main village, and its staple, sockeye salmon, all but disappear from nearby rivers. The tribe's struggles reflect the broader challenges of Native Americans, who are among the most vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. Greg Lewis never finished high school and credits fishing with helping him put his life together and build a family.
I started out in 2010 with my uncle. I was just getting done through everything I was doing because I was into drugs and stuff a lot, and that's what got me out of it, really, is fishing. It feels good just to be my own boss and being able to provide for my family while I'm doing it.
But now he's worried there won't be any fish left for the next generations.
I think it's definitely climate change, because what happened with the sockeye and their spawning grounds from all the warm weather, the glaciers not building up, and the water's not as cold for them to go up and spawn and survive.
The summer runoff from Anderson Glacier in the Olympic Mountains once cooled the Quinault River system. But the last of the glacier melted 9 years ago, warming the river and distressing the salmon, according to the Quinault Environmental Protection Department.
And there's some days where I literally cry. I cry coming to work, or I cry leaving, because of the news that I hear about or what I've witnessed. I think that happens when you're really connected to your community, your surrounding.
Before the collapse, fishery was the second largest source of revenue for the Quinault after its resort and casino. The seafood enterprise Quinault Pride sustained about 350 jobs and generated nearly $29 million in revenue. That's according to a 2015 report by economic consulting firm Resource Dimensions.
We can't ignore it when we're a community and a people that depend on those things.
Families like Scott's are often ill-equipped to adapt their reservations to increasing threats from storms, flooding, droughts, and wildfires. Every year, the Interior Department's Bureau of Indian Affairs provides $10 million for tribal climate resilience planning nationwide. FEMA provides another $20 million to protect communities from natural disasters. But that's not much when spread among more than 500 tribes, according to Fawn Sharp, president of the Quinault. Sharp has announced plans to move the tribe to higher ground, restore the fishery, and diversify its economy. The whole relocation project will cost up to $150 million. But the lack of federal money means those projects are likely to founder, according to Sharp.
So here we are, another season that's canceled because there's just not the resource that we normally would have had. We can't be the ones taking the last fish or taking the last clam. We do what we have to do to preserve it.
This is Roy Jong-dae, a South Korean furniture designer based in Seoul. His unlikely go-to material, cornstarch.
After the process of grinding dehydrated corn finely into a starch form and then solidifying it, it turns into a solid coil which can be used for designing and producing by using a 3D printer.
3D 프린터로 어떤 그 디자인을 하고 물건을 만들 수 있는 상태에
As plastic increasingly becomes an environmental pariah, a growing number of furniture and homeware designers are experimenting with bioplastic, a green alternative made from renewable sources. Vegetable fats and oils, seaweed, fish scales, and cornstarch have all been deployed in the quest to protect the earth from plastic pollution. 40-year-old Ryu is among the pioneering designers. And it's not just the material that's worth mentioning. All of Roy's furniture is also 3D printed.
3D 프린터를 사용해서
One of the reasons I work with 3D printers is because I was contemplating how to reduce waste that comes from the creative process. But you still waste materials even if you use a 3D printer. If I throw these leftover materials out, that would just be more trash. So I gather them to design products that actually have a function.
그런 기능을 할 수 있는 제품을 디자인을 하기도 하고요.
The World Bank said humans generated 242 million tons of plastic waste in 2016. In South Korea, more than 8.2 million tons of plastic waste were produced in 2018, according to the Korea Environment Corporation. Plastic production has surged in recent decades, leading to widespread use of inexpensive disposable products that are having a devastating effect on the environment. Most commonly used plastic made from petroleum doesn't biodegrade. Instead, it may take hundreds of years for it to decompose into smaller pieces. Bioplastics, on the other hand, can be naturally broken down in certain environments. Roy says he's started to experiment with other kinds of bioplastics, including one derived from shrimp shells.
새우 껍질이나 그 물고기 비늘을 이용한
I think bioplastics made from shrimp shells and fish scales are very close to being commercialized. I'd like to work with those new bioplastics, and I'd also like to work with recycled plastic from fish nets and other marine waste to create artwork using 3D printers or other digital technologies.